Hello and welcome to this presentation on the 60-minute authority, how you can become a recognized expert in the digital attention span economy. So who is this for? This is for entrepreneurs, it's for business owners, consultants, service professionals, speakers, trainers, coaches. If you're involved in real estate or the health and wellness, legal, finance, sales and marketing, technology, hospitality, anybody in any of these trades and many more, this is definitely going to be valuable information for you. So make sure you listen well, because we are in the digital attention span economy. Now, what does that mean? What does it take to stand out now in the marketplace has changed dramatically over the last few years. You can see here our attention in 2000 has gone from 12 seconds down to 8.25 seconds in 2015. So competition for your prospects' attention is fierce. And as online media has increased, the attention span has decreased. And consumers are bombarded daily and hourly and by the minute with text messages and emails and social media and YouTube and all the other platforms that are out there. In fact, Twitter's 140 character, now 280 character platform is the preferred communication channel for the President of the United States as well. So we are interested in getting these bite-sized pieces of information, because our attention isn't there long enough unless you can capture that attention to focus on one thing all the time. And we live in this microwave mindset. So what does that mean? It's over the last 40 years, consumers have been conditioned to place a high value on instant gratification. So we want that instant availability, and that has replaced 2 to 4 weeks delivery. You know, that's what it used to be. It was, you'll get your product or whatever in 2 to 4 weeks. Now with Amazon and Prime and things like that, it's, you know, if it's not here in 2 days, we have a problem. You know, we want next day or almost instant in everything that we do. And, you know, because once we make that decision to buy, we want it now. That's just the way that we are now conditioned. And, you know, when you look at the past, it used to take, you know, months and weeks to make that decision to receive your purchase. And now, like I said, it's days and hours. You look at the old models of videos and computer games at Blockbuster. I mean, you had to go out to the store, you had to, you know, peruse around the store. You could spend an hour or more in there looking at the different movies. The same as the record stores. You'd go, you'd look around, you'd look for music. You could spend a ton of time making decisions on what you're going to buy. And of course, the old Barnes and Nobles, you know, people used to go there to spend hours of time looking through books and CDs and everything else that they have to offer. But that is not what it's like anymore, because it's been replaced with things like Netflix and iTunes and Amazon, and all these places deliver our outcomes or our purchases instantly. So we are down to minutes and seconds, not weeks as it was before, and our attention span is getting shorter and shorter. So let me talk about the decision process. You know, we make decisions based on emotions, and most of our decisions, 95% of our decisions, are made first in the subconscious. So the subconscious chooses what we want to buy, and then the conscious mind looks for reasons to justify that decision to buy. So when you are trying to capture somebody's attention, the first thing that you've got to do is make sure that you stand out and get that attention. So your subconscious says, yes, this is the right person that I want to do business with. And then the conscious mind's going to kick in and say, well, why is this the right person that I want to do business with? So you really want to stand out, and there's certain things that you can do in order to stand out so that subconscious mind makes immediate decisions based on your trust and authority. So the rational justification, which is your conscious mind, we want to see it, we want to touch it, we want to smell it, we want to taste it. And it's easier for the conscious mind to find reasons to justify emotional decisions when we can see it, touch it, smell it, taste it. And that's what was so great about the Blockbusters and the record stores and the bookstores, is we could experience all these things to back up our emotional decision to make that purchase. So we could justify it rationally with the conscious mind. But now with Netflix and iTunes and Amazon, it's not quite like that anymore. But there are things that you can look on Netflix. You have things like trending now and popular on Netflix. And what this is trying to do is it's trying to share what the crowd is saying. Often when we can't make those rational justifications, we look for what the crowd is doing, what the crowd is thinking, what is popular. On iTunes, we've got what's hot. On Amazon, we've got customers who bought this item also bought these other items. So as you can see, there's social proof here, and it's called the bandwagon effect. So when seeking rational justification, the conscious mind often places trust in the crowd, like I was saying. And the reason is, I'm justified in my decision because it's what others with similar interests have done. And that's extremely important, and it's what we call trust triggers. So what are trust triggers, or what do they do? The trust triggers give the conscious mind reasons to rationally justify those emotional decisions. And when we talk about decisions, we look at something like Uber, which is extremely popular right now. It's $1 billion company. But when you think about it, if you look at the decision that you're making, is it any different than just sticking your thumb out on the side of the road? And, if that Uber wasn't involved, you're really just sticking your thumb out on the side of the road and you're waiting for somebody to come and pick you up. Now, is that a rational decision? Is that something that anybody would do? No. But because of the power of the community and the power of the crowd and everybody having something to say about Uber, is now we just take it for granted that everything is safe, and it's something that we all do, is to use Uber. So when we're talking about the emotions and the subconscious, that's what really decides who we buy from. And then our conscious mind looks for reasons to justify that decision. So when you're looking at a seller and product reputation, you're trying to figure if this is the right seller and the right reputation for you. And of course, this is a really important one. Does this person understand my problem? And of course, is this person qualified to solve my problem as well? Those are all the rational justifications that your conscious mind is looking for when they first experience somebody. So the other thing is, people want to work with experts. And in order to become an expert or be viewed as an expert, we have things called authority trust triggers. Now, authority trust triggers position you as the recognized expert in your field, and it makes it easy for the conscious mind to justify the decision to work with you, and even if it costs more. So your subconscious mind is going to say right away yes or no, and then your conscious mind is going to justify that by other things, and it's looking for these trust triggers in order to justify those decisions. And because it gives you peace of mind, people are willing to pay a lot more, not just a little bit more, to work with you. They will pay a lot more if they believe that you are somebody that is trusted to solve their problem. So what we're talking about here is authority heuristics, and you talking about you doesn't work anymore. Authority trust triggers are based on those authority heuristics, which is enabling others to determine your expert status for themselves. So you're not saying, you know, like this picture here, trust me, I'm an expert. You are getting a third-party validation from an authority signal or site or person that says that you are the expert. So let's take a few steps here. Step one is to make it easy for others to call yourself, to call you the expert. So let's just bust some myths right now. And this is what a lot of people think when they are contemplating themselves and being positioned as an expert. So first, the first myth is you have to call yourself the expert. Well, you know, that isn't true. Calling yourself the expert just doesn't work anymore because nobody's going to believe it if you call yourself the expert. An expert knows more than anybody else. Again, that would mean the person that knows the most would be the only expert, but that's not how it is. There's experts all over the place. There's experts, you know, down to you've got your national experts, you've got your state experts, you've got your city experts, you've got your individual experts in different areas of your town, you've got your neighborhood experts. So there's not just one expert, there's thousands of experts out there that have great value. And, you know, like, you don't have to be the very best in your field is what I'm saying, is number three. You don't have to be the very best in your field. You just have to know more than the people that you're trying to help and be willing and able to serve them. And myth number four, it takes years to build an expert reputation and to be recognized as the authority. What you'll see very soon is that is completely untrue. In fact, people can come into a market and within 90 days position themselves as an expert if they are doing things the right way and basing their expertise upon these authority trust triggers like I've been sharing. And of course, the one that holds most people back is I am not ready to put myself out there as an expert. So let's talk about the authority mindset. So authority is not about calling yourself the expert. And when we try to convince others that we are the experts, it's hard not to focus on how we compare to other experts in our field. And there's always going to be somebody that is bigger, better, smarter, stronger than you are. So that is not something that you want to do. And the other thing is, calling yourself the expert can feel uncomfortable. If you're trying to convince people that you are the expert, it does become uncomfortable. And it can trigger that imposter syndrome, which a lot of people have a major problem dealing with. It's like the fear of being found out that you're not everything that you've been saying that you are. You start to have anxiety about your competition, and that all leads to a lack of confidence as well. So if we can't convince ourselves that we are the expert, we're not going to be able to successfully convince others either. So that is not the way to go about it. Authority is, however, being an educator and an advocate. And we focus on the success of our prospects and customers, and we put ourselves in a position to really help them and show that we can help them. We empathize with them. We share that we understand their problems and what they might be going through. We give value. We show that we can really help them by giving that value, and we are able to solve those problems. And then, of course, we deliver results, and that's what positions you as that expert. So let's do a quick exercise right here. And I want you to say to yourself, I am the expert in the field of, you know, whatever it might be, the dentistry or finance or physical therapy or whatever your occupation is, whether you're a coach or a consultant or one of the professional occupations. Just say this now. I am the expert in the field of whatever, fill in the blank. Now I want you to say, I'm an educator and advocate for the success of my customers. So go ahead and say that now. I'm an educator and advocate for the success of my customers. Now, how did you feel when you said that? Which one did you have the most confidence saying, and which one did you have the most confidence in being? Obviously, positioning yourself as the expert, like I've said before, can sometimes create that imposter syndrome, and you're trying to convince people that you are the expert rather than saying, I'm the educator and the advocate for your success. Well, that's something that you can be very proud of, and you can believe that that is what you do if you are in business to help people. So look at these people right here. We've got Tyra Banks, Richard Simmons, Susie Orman, and Dave Ramsey. Why are they authorities? Do they constantly call themselves the expert? Are they the smartest and best in their fields? I think you would say no to both of those questions. But they are recognized as the educators and the advocates for the success of others. So when we stop trying to convince people that we are the expert and focus on being a champion for our customers, we make it easy for others to call us the expert. Now, moving on to step 2, we want to define what your mission is. So what do you do? Most people begin this reply with, I'm a doctor, or I'm a dentist, or I'm a financial planner, or I own this business or these businesses, or I make, whether it's a product or whatever that you make. And, or for example, I'm a business coach, or I own a fitness bootcamp, or I make websites, and it's all about you and your job, but that is not what other people want to hear, because authorities don't have a job, they have a mission. So instead of answering that question of what do you do, try and switch that around and answer like they asked, who do you help? And what do you help them accomplish? And how do you help them? And then, of course, why do you help them? And if you can answer these questions when somebody asks you, what do you do? You are going to start talking about them and how you can help them instead of all about yourself, which puts you in a much better position. So let's go over an example with somebody that you might know and recognize. This is Richard Simmons. He has been around for decades, and he has been considered the authority in one special aspect of fitness. So who does Richard Simmons help? He helps overweight men and women who feel they might be beyond help. They aren't interested in beach bodies. They are concerned about their health and their quality of life. So what does Richard Simmons help them accomplish? He helps them take control of their fitness destiny and finally lose weight and improve their health. And how does Richard Simmons help them? By making his programs fun and energizing, and he motivates them to eat better and exercise at their own level. Now look at why does Richard Simmons help them, because this is extremely important, and this is where people want to know that you understand the pain that they're going through, and you can really help them and empathize with them. So he grew up on a diet of lard and desserts in the French Quarter of New Orleans and weighed 268 pounds when he graduated high school. He tried everything from bizarre diets to laxatives. He didn't want a muscle body. He just didn't want to be fat and tired anymore. And he finally won the battle by adopting a lifestyle of balance, moderate eating, and exercise. But when he moved to Los Angeles, he couldn't find a health club that wasn't geared towards people who were already in great shape, and he felt intimidated and judged, as so many people do when they step into a gym for the first time. And he knew there was others who felt that same way, and that's when he decided to create a safe haven, everyone from the overweight and obese to seniors and the physically challenged, where they were welcomed with open arms. And he was determined to establish an innovative place to provide motivation and support for those that needed it most. So if we were to put that in some kind of mission statement, here is what that might look like. Richard Simmons is on a crusade to reach out to the millions of overweight men and women who are losing their health and hope to obesity. Delivering a serious message with his trademark humor, Simmons has helped millions of overweight men and women lose more than £3 million by adopting sensible, balanced eating programs and exercise regimes that are energetic, fun, and motivating. Simmons weighed 268 pounds when he graduated high school, and after trying and failing several diets and weight loss programs, he finally took control of his own weight by adopting a lifestyle of balance, moderate eating, and exercise. When Simmons first moved to Los Angeles, he was unable to find a health club that wasn't geared towards people who are already in great shape. He felt intimidated and judged, and he knew others had to feel the same. This inspired Simmons to create a safe haven that would welcome people of all shapes and sizes with open arms, where he could provide motivation and support to everyone from the overweight and obese to seniors and the physically challenged, those who needed it most. Now, if you are in that position and you were looking for somebody to help you to get to, a more manageable state of life, would you be looking for that, muscle-bound person that is in the gym is going to be yelling at you, or are you going to be looking for somebody that has really gone through it and understands where you are? And I think just because of the empathy and the understanding that Richard Simmons has for the people that he works with, it's why people position him as that authority and trust him and want to do business with him. So let me ask you this. What is your crusade? What is your mission? Let's see if we can define that here. So take the time to define your mission and why it's important to you and the people you help. So answer these questions. Who do you help? What do you help them accomplish? And how do you help them? And then, of course, finally, why do you help them? So people can understand why it is that you do what you do, and they're going to be much more likely to do business with you when you answer these 4 questions. All right, moving on to step number 3, and that is to step into your authority. Oscar Wilde says there is only one thing in life worse than being talked about, and that is not being talked about. I think the number one problem that most businesses have is obscurity. It's just there's so much going on, so many marketing messages out there that nobody even hears about you or know that you're in business at all. So you're not even an option for them to do business with. So obscurity is definitely a major problem. But there's a way around that, and that is by building your business with a foundation of authority, just like Dave Ramsey has done. And I like to call this the Dave Ramsey effect. As you can see, Dave Ramsey is everywhere. He's on websites. He's got articles written about him. Of course, he's got his book and multiple books now. He's always been awarded, and you can see him on your smartphone, on your tablets, on your laptops, in bookstores. Dave Ramsey is everywhere, and he is always top of mind because of that. So when we look at Dave Ramsey and other celebrity entrepreneurs, we have a path to follow, because this is what all these celebrity entrepreneurs are doing that gets them the attention. Okay, so first is being a published author, and that is one of the most powerful positions that you can have for authority, is being a published author. And not only a published author, but a best-selling author as well is going to have even more authority. And what does that do? That also gives you the opportunity to be interviewed as a guest expert on radio or in television, or you can host your own radio show or podcast like Dave Ramsey does, and it instantly changes the mind's perception that you are the authority as well as that educator and advocate that we have been talking about, even without knowing who the person is, reading their book. So many people have got books out there that are just not read. And this is what people don't understand. It's the fact that you have a book and that you share that you have a book, it gives you the authority. Only 10% of the people that actually receive your book might read it, but the fact that you have a book gives you that authority. And then, of course, there's other ways that people want to listen to you or get your content, and listening to your shows or interviews is definitely one of them. So that authority recognition is assigned by the conscious mind because of the strong association with celebrity experts who are doing this as well. When we look at things like the TED Talks, now if you look at this page, none of these people on here are probably going to stand out to you as somebody that you would recognize. But just because they are on the platform that they are on the TED website gives them that authority that they're going to be able to share with their audience as being a TED speaker. We also look at things like TV interviews. Being interviewed in TV instantly puts you in that position of authority, as well as I said, like bestsellers. We look at people like Richard Branson, Elon Musk. These people have all done the book, and that's a path that we want to follow as well. So instead of like the picture saying, trust me, I'm an expert, we position ourselves as authority so other people can talk about us. So why is this so powerful? Because instantly your subconscious mind isn't processing this. And when we look at the book here, we've got our 60-minute authority lead magnet. This is just one of the things that you can do to position your authority. Your subconscious mind is processing, this person is a published author on the subject that I need help with. This is the ideal person to help me. And which allows the conscious mind to determine that you have expert status. And that is how authority heuristics work. And if we look a little bit further into the Dave Ramsey effect, you might be thinking, well, how can I do this? I'm not Dave Ramsey. But what I like to say, Dave Ramsey is not you. You know, Dave Ramsey is very good at what he does, but he has his own area and you have your own area as well. So if you can truly help people, what I'm about to share with you is going to change the way that you think about authority forever. Now, here's a quote from E.O. Wilson, who is the father of sociobiology. He says, "We are drowning in information while starving for wisdom. The world will be run by synthesizers, people who are able to put together the right information at the right time, think critically about it, and make important choices wisely," which means we want to find the right information just as we need it, and that is where you have to be top of mind in people's minds. So your best prospects are most influenced by concise, results-driven messages that can be consumed quickly and delivered by a recognized authority, such as these TED Talks. The TED Talks are only 18 minutes long, and they give very specific information on one small subject. If you look at TV and radio interview segments, they are generally 5 to 12 minutes long, sometimes even a lot shorter than that, 2 to 3 or 4 minutes. You know, I look at CNBC many times in the morning, and they have guests on for 3-4 minutes, and then they've switched it up and they move on to somebody else. But those sound bites are extremely important. We look even at the bestsellers. They even have books that only take 15 minutes to read. Now, some of these books have valuable information, and it might just be solving one specific problem that you have. So we want to try and copy that. So your messages should be bite-sized. They should be results-driven. They should be easy to consume, easy to share, and easy for you to create. William Shakespeare: "Brevity is the soul of wit." But I like to say brevity plus recognition equals authority and profit in this digital attention span economy. So step 4 is to start by answering one single question. So we want to answer one question, and that might be one question that your customers or clients come in and ask you all the time. It might be a major question that they have. If you can answer just that one question and create content around that, it's going to be very in demand. So we don't want to just dump information. We want to provide a solution in these bite-sized pieces of content that are going to encourage action. A 300-page book isn't necessarily the best thing to encourage action, but maybe a 40-page book with one specific step that people need to take is going to get a lot more action. And that's how we create our 60-minute lead authority. One of my favorite books, The Art of War. When you are small, you need to appear big, says Sun Tzu. And that is exactly what we want to do. This is one of the most popular books of all times, and it is only 64 pages long. And I look at some of these other books. We've got The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles. We've got John Steinbeck's Of Mice and Men. My favorite, As a Man Thinketh, by James Al, and I have that one on audio, and I probably listen to that 3 or 4 times a month because I can listen to it while I'm out walking my dog, and it is just an awesome book. It's definitely one of my favorites. If you haven't read that one, I would definitely recommend that to you. But we look at all these classic books. All these books are less than 100 pages, and they are classics for a reason, is because people actually have taken the time to read and listen to them. They are very concise, they are results driven, and these make great authority lead magnets. Now, as you can see, some of the titles below here, we've got the 60-minute authority lead magnet. We've got the top 5 ways to rapidly boost your self-confidence, 5 secrets of healthy life in the office. So these are the kinds of things that these short lead magnet books should be about, and they are problem solution recipes. They're dealing with one problem with your solutions, and we'd like to do it in a recipe format. So let's look at what a recipe looks like. This is the 5-ingredient college cookbook. So what's the problem here? A college student with little time or money or cooking experience needs an alternative to the cafeteria and fast food. The solution is how to cook simple, fast meals on a tight budget. And the recipes, how to make a 5-ingredient breakfast, how to make a 5-ingredient lunch, and how to make a 5-ingredient dinner. Now, if you're looking at this, are you seeing how these can easily be broken down into chapters of books and with specific processes? So let's look at this problem solution recipe. First of all, we want to identify the problem, and then we want to define what those solutions are, and then we deliver the recipes for solving the problem. So recipes or steps or a path or an outline, however you want to say it, it's a step-by-step system for solving those problems. And each piece of content should walk your prospect through that simple recipe. Now, talk about simple. Let's look at a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. What's the problem? A kid needs to feed himself after school without cooking. The solution is to make a sandwich. The recipe is how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So what are the steps of that recipe? Get a couple of slices of bread, apply the peanut butter to one side of the piece of bread, and then apply jelly to the other side of the piece of bread. You put the pieces together with the peanut butter and the jelly sides facing each other, and you have yourself a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Now, I know that is a very simple illustration, but this is really what you have to do when you are explaining things, because the things that you're explaining are probably going to be new to the people who are reading your book. So let's look at another one. The problem is a new landlord wants to learn about dealing with problem tenants. The solution is eviction. So how do we go about that? How do you evict problem tenants without a lawyer? And then we go step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and we outline how we solve that kind of problem. Here's another one. An entrepreneur starting a one-person business is looking for legal and tax advice. The solution, well, first they have to choose a business structure, and then we go through the recipes, the advantage or the disadvantages of an LLC versus a solopreneur. We cover the pros, the cons, the pitfalls, and all those different kinds of things in a step-by-step outline that we can give somebody in a chapter of the book. Now let's look at LinkedIn. A problem, a consultant wants strategies for attracting clients on LinkedIn. The solution, optimize your LinkedIn profile. Just did an interview with Donna Sardula. She wrote the LinkedIn profile optimization for dummies, which is exactly what we were talking about here. And our whole conversation for 30-40 minutes was all about how to optimize this LinkedIn profile, and she broke it down step by step in a recipe that was easily understood. So people are looking for these bite-sized pieces of information right here because it's extremely useful to them. So the recipe is how to write a powerful LinkedIn profile summary. Don't make it like a resume. Write it in the first person. Speak to your target audience and say what you stand for, and then also what you stand against. And then, some formatting the summary, make sure it looks good and is easy to read rather than one, just big paragraph. So that's how you break those down. So we talk about a problem. Problems might have more than one solution, and we can break those down each with a recipe. And when we look at the solutions and then the recipes, there might be a recipe for different parts of that solution as well. So as you can see, you start with one main problem, it can really break it down. So let's look at that a little bit more. We're looking at the LinkedIn strategy. Well, we've got the optimize the profile, we've got the grow the network, and we've got use groups as well. These are 3 different problems that might have. Now, under the optimized profile that we talked about, we talk about the summary, we talk about the photo, we talk about the headline, we talk about the structuring, the formatting, and everything else. That is answering one specific thing, and that's what you want to focus on, and you can do a whole book around that individual thing. And this goes just a little bit more into detail. So we talk about how to write a powerful LinkedIn profile. You don't make it a resume, you write it in the first person, you speak to your target audience, you say what you stand for, and then we look at the formatting. So it's easily broken down into steps that you can talk about in your book. So what is your recipe? Now you think about what your problem is, your individual problem or your client's individual problem, the one that they need solving most. You think about your solution, and then you break down that solution into the individual steps, and that makes up your recipe. So again, looking at LinkedIn, we've got that LinkedIn strategy. The solution is to optimize your profile, and then the recipe is how to write a powerful LinkedIn profile. Now, a great way to do this and to get your ideas on paper is to record it first on your phone. You just talk about it and you break down each one of those steps. You talk about not making it a resume first. You talk about writing it in the first person. You talk about how to speak to your target audience, and you need to think about them only when you're talking and you're writing your profile. And you say what you stand for, and then you talk about some of the formatting issues so that it looks good. So you want to shoot for about 12 minutes in each one of these steps of your recipe. So 12 minutes on what is a profile summary, why is writing a powerful summary important, who looks at the summaries, the unknown benefits and pitfalls, Um, don't make it a resume. So you want to break these down and talk each individually about, why these are important. So don't make it a resume. Why is that important? Can you give me an example? Are there any special resources that they could go to, look for good examples of LinkedIn profiles? And then we do the same thing with, the different parts of the recipe. Write it in the first person. Why is that important? Can you give an example of that? Are there any special resources that you can list about that? So forget about trying to sound like an expert and just have a normal conversation with people. That's really what they're looking for. So don't say, the agricultural citrus fruit at the peak of its ripeness when you really mean a juicy orange. Just say what's on your mind, and that's what people want to hear as well. Don't try and sound too smart and intellectual. Just speak normally and be that educator and that advocate for their success. So why 12 minutes? Well, with 12 minutes of speaking, that will produce about 1,500 to 1,700 words. So if you multiply that by 5, and you do that 5 times for 5 different recipe steps, you add in an intro and a conclusion. That's about 60 minutes of speaking, which is going to give you 75 to 8,500 words. And that's just with 5 solution recipes. So what we want to do is record. Once you have that recorded, you can have it transcribed, and then you have to edit it, and you add your mission or your conclusion to the end. And there you have it. You have a lead magnet book written that you can hand out to your clients. You can make it available on your website, and it is that authority trust trigger that is going to position you as the authority and the educator and advocate for the success of your clients. And just breaking down the LinkedIn idea here, there's the LinkedIn profile. You can create a book for that. How to grow your network, you can create a book for that. And then how to use the group. So you can be the authority in each one of these individual things and have many different ways to connect with your ideal target market, rather than just one big book that they're probably not going to read anyway. And once you have that book, then you can do the other things like the Dave Ramsey effect. You can have written about it. You can do interviews. You can have articles written about the fact that you're an author and you have a book. Obviously, if you get a reward for becoming a bestseller, that makes great pictures for social media to put up on your website. And then once you get that authority recognition, then you can start doing interviews on TV, and people will ask you to speak at events. And, that is what it's all about. That's how you get that authority recognition. So to turn your recipe books into powerful authority lead magnets and allow the recipes to open the eyes more to the options and possibilities that you can help solve. So if you are able to solve the LinkedIn profile issue, you're probably going to be able to solve the networking on LinkedIn and how to access groups as well. So even though you're giving them a little bit of information, they're always going to come back to you for more. So it's not about holding information back, it's about giving them value, and your prospects are going to want to come back to you for more all the time. So my goal today was to break down these 5 myths about becoming an expert and calling yourself an expert. And I hope that I have been able to do that. Now, let me ask you these questions again. Do you believe that you have to call yourself the expert in order to be considered an expert? No, I hope not. It's about other people calling you that expert. Do you believe that an expert knows more than anybody else? Again, no. It's about knowing more than the people that you're trying to help and positioning yourself as that expert and advocate for their success. An expert needs to be the very best in their field, No, that is not true either. You just have to know what you're doing and be willing and able to help the people that come to you for help. And does it take years to build that expert reputation and to be recognized as an authority? Again, no, it doesn't take years. This is something that you can do from your knowledge. You probably have 10 years or more of expertise in what you're doing. So you have all the knowledge that you need. But even with a little knowledge and some research, people can come into this market, position themselves as an expert. If they're willing and able to help people, they are going to get the business. And finally, I am not ready to put myself out there as an expert. I think if you are in business right now and you are in the business of helping people, I believe it is your duty to get the message out there that you are willing and able to help them, and that you are an educator and advocate for the success of those people that you're trying to help. That is your duty, to help these people, because they are looking for somebody who is capable and willing to help them. And why not that be you? So if you'd like to learn more about positioning yourself as an expert and having a book done, I would love you to contact me. You can call me at 404-428-1399, or you can visit my website at theauthorityarchitect.com, or of course you can connect with me on social media. We are living in that digital attention span economy, and this is definitely a way to capture people's attention right away. Position yourself as that authority and give them the information that they need to make decisions, to use you to solve their problems. So again, this is Neil Howe. Contact me, 404-428-1399. You can visit me, The Authority Architect, at theauthorityarchitect.com, or connect with me on social media. I hope you enjoyed this and got a lot out of it, and I hope to be hearing from you soon.